What's up, you guys? Steven with Magic Meadow Money, filming from my bathroom today in order to get the vibe and the theme of the video, which is simply, are the Secret Lair Shock Lands worth buying? And to answer that question, we can ask ourselves a few follow-up questions. First of all, are they cheap? Yeah, they're cheap, $10 a Shock Land, good price. Do they have good art? Yeah, art looks good. Did Rob Alexander do the art? Well, no, he didn't. Do they have better art than the OG Ravnica Shock Lands? Of course not. Dumb question. Why would I even ask? Okay, now for those of you who aren't purist snobs and are maybe open to change and new ideas, yes, these Shock Lands actually are pretty great and there's some good things that they have to offer. And yes, I really am filming from my bathroom, which is where I have these hanging. These are the only art prints I have. They really are some of my favorite pieces of art. So while I personally am very biased towards Rob Alexander and the original Shock Lands, there's definitely some great things to be had about these new Shock Lands. We're going to approach today's video from three different angles. First one is going to be playability, second one is going to be collectability, and the third one is going to be affordability. But before we dive into this, two quick things I need to say. First of all, yes, I am sick. I do have a head cold, so my voice sounds like garbage. I'm sorry, but hey, to me, filming a video with a bad voice is better than not filming at all for the week, so here we go. And second of all, thank you so much to all of you who've been tuning in. I've seen a lot of growth on my channel recently, and honestly, it just means the world to me. So all of you who are liking and commenting and subscribing and sharing this with your friends, I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So first of all, are the Shock Lands playable? Dumb question. It sounds silly to even ask. Yes, they are extremely playable. From a playability standpoint, this is a great secret lair because mana is just the ultimate foundational ground, like starting point for any deck. If you don't have a good mana base, you're not going to be able to play your spells. You're going to have a bad experience. It's just not an option. So you have to have good mana, and the Shock Lands are just bomb. They're super powerful dual lands. They can enter the battlefield untapped, tap for two different colors. You don't have to choose one or the other like a pathway. Not bashing the pathways, just saying they're obviously better than pathways for that reason. They're also actual dual lands where they have the land types in them, so you can fetch for them or get them with things for like 3 visits or other cards that go and get land types specifically. So really, really powerful, and they always will be. They'll simply always be a powerful part of Magic. They'll always have playability in your cubes, in your modern, Commander, Pioneer, even if that's a format we'll see. And then, of course, inevitably, they'll come back into Standard again, and you'll already have them ready to go for Standard. The first time we ever got the Shock Lands was back in Ravnica City of Guilds, which was in 2005. I was a tyke. I was in like junior high. That was a long time ago. And then they got reprinted and returned to Ravnica in 2012, and then in Guilds of Ravnica back in 2018, just 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago now, 2.5 years ago. And here we go, we're getting a little special treatment. So we saw them, it took about a 7-year gap, but then a 6-year gap. And so you would think we'll probably see another 6 years or so until we get them printed in Standard. But here we go, we get our own special little treatment of a Secret Lair so you can get them before having to wait another 3 years, which is unique printing pattern for them. And that really does increase accessibility of these cards for all players who are rather new to the game or didn't play the game during those specific time periods. Because a lot of people who play Magic, they circle back to the game. Maybe they played when they were younger, their friends stopped playing, or they started doing something else. They started playing sports, or started playing their Xbox or whatever, and they got distracted and stopped playing Magic. Then they circle back into it. Well, if you played in 2015, you were late to the game, you missed the return to Ravnica Shock Lands, and now you're just getting back into the game in 2020, right, during quarantine and shutdown. Well, you missed the printing again of Allegiance and Guilds, so you never got to see them be printed in your standard formats where you can go and draft them at your LGS. So this is a great opportunity for people to get the cards who don't already have them, and the playability, again, is always going to be there. For collectability, first and foremost, the fact that these represent 10 different planes is really cool. That's fun. It's a fun thing to collect because you say, hey, rather than just representing Ravnica, which is what these have always represented, right? The dual lands have always been printed in a Ravnica set. Now you get to represent different blocks and different sets and different planes of Magic, and that's a lot of fun. You can say, hey, I'm representing Amonkhet. This one represents Tarkir. This one represents Ixalan. That's a lot of fun and something I think is positive for collectability. Another positive thing going for collectability is how easy they all are to get. You just order them. You simply say, I want all of them, ship all of them to me, and now you get all of them. So it's really convenient and easy. But Because they decided to print them in the shards, I'll explain those in a minute if you don't know what shards are, and not just simply the allied and enemy color patterns like I initially thought they would do, you get an awkward amount because you get twice as many of the allies as the enemies. So initially I thought they were just going to simply say, hey, we got 10 shock lands and you can buy them for 50 bucks a pop. That's what I originally predicted. You can say you can buy A or B. You can get the allies or the enemies. Each one will have 5 shock lands and it's 50 bucks. Instead, they wanted to reduce that price point, I think. I think that was a big reason why they wanted to say, hey, let's take these down to $30, and then we'll say we'll print them in the shards. So, shards representing Alara. Alara is an old plane in Magic that was broken up into 5 different shards. And each shard in the color pie represents 3 different colors that are all connected through a central ally color. So, for example, Jund is, of course, green, red, and black. Red being that centerpiece connecting green and black. So because they package them this way, Overgrown Tomb can only be found in the Jund purchase, in the Jund package. But Stomping Ground is going to be in Jund and Naya, and Blood Crypt is going to be in Jund and Grixis. So the allies are going to have twice as many as the enemies, which is awkward. Like, you only want to buy 10 Shocklands, but you have to buy 15. So that's a strike against them for collectability. I mean, yeah, you can trade them and you can say, hey, I'm going to buy all 15, but then I'll collect 10 and try to get rid of the other 5 or trade them or sell them on eBay. But that's a big hassle. And that's what I mean by it's a strike against them. Like, it's just not as convenient. So a little weird they decided to package them this way and print twice as many of the allies as the enemies. Our final point today is affordability. And $10 is a great price for a Shockland. I think that's awesome, but if you're only buying like just the Jund or just the Grixis, well, you're spending $30 on the product for 3 lands, so yeah, $10. But you then have to pay for shipping, and so shipping's like 10 bucks. Now you're at $13 a Shockland, before taxes, and that's not as good of a price. Like that's a significant increase. So you have to get the free shipping, which $99 for free shipping is a lot of money. Like, that is a lot of money for a minimum purchase. Like, what other website do you have to spend $100 before you qualify for free shipping? Like, in today's world, that's just crazy. Like, Wizards, stick to your supply chain, right? Stick to your distribution channels that you already have. But whatever, they're not going to do that. Obviously, their secret lairs are here to stay, right? $13, not as great. So you have to qualify for free shipping, in my opinion, in order to make these, get them at that great price at $10 per card. Now, there's also an option to buy all of them, right? You buy all 5 packs, you're getting all 15 Shocklands, and now that's $120. So if you're in this and you say, hey, I love these and I want them all, well, now you're getting them at $8 a pop and free shipping. That's awesome, right? You cross the $99 threshold, that huge threshold, and you spend 120 bucks, you're getting 15 Shocklands. So they're $8 a pop. Solid price. Like, that's really good. The question is, what are you going to do with 15 Shocklands? Now, if you're making a cube, boom, there's 10 of them right there. And then you'll have 5 more that you can do whatever you want with. Put them in your different commander decks or whatever, and done. You found a place for all of them. So that's really easy. If you're not making a cube and you're just like a modern player, it's going to be kind of hard to use all 15 Shocklands, honestly. Like, unless you just have a ton of different decks, and modern's not the cheapest format, so you're going to have a lot of money tied up in these decks. 15 Shocklands is a lot. Most decks only use like 3 to 5 Shocklands, so needing 15 is a lot. That's like 3 to 5 different decks that you're going to be putting these in. So then, if you're buying things that you're not actually using, are they actually $8 a piece? Right? Like, technically they are, but if you put 7 of these in storage and they just go in your binder, or they go in, and you never see them or you never use them, so you really bought 8 of them effectively, like you're only using 8 of them for $120. Now you're paying 15 bucks a pop effectively for what you're actually using. So that's something to consider is, hey, if you want to get this nice bundled price, are you actually going to use them all? Now, for those of you who are thinking that you want to buy these, that you could potentially make some money in the long run, like maybe, hey, I get them in the big bulk discounted price, I sell the codes, I sell the sleeves, anything else that comes with them, I turn in the codes on MTGO and cash those in, and I'm getting really cheap price and lowering my price point to $7 a Shockland or whatever you can get it down to after all that. Maybe they go up in price over time. I wouldn't get too excited. For all the reasons I've already mentioned in this video, the extreme playability, the relative affordability of them, and of course how iconic these are going to be in high demand. But because of the Secret Lair model where they can anyone can order them, there's not a set limit, that means everyone who wants them are going to buy them. And everyone who's thinking that other people are going to want them are going to buy them. And because everyone knows the same information and everyone's got the same line of thinking, there's going to be a lot of people in this market who just say, hey, I'm going to buy 3 or 4 of these. I'm going to buy, I'm going to spend $500 and I'm going to buy 4 of the big ultimate dual drops where they're, $120 a pop. People are going to do that. And that's just going to mean the supply is infinite. The supply of these things is going to be through the roof. It's going to take years for the supply of these things to disappear and to dissipate throughout the market. Like, that's going to be a long time before you see any type of movement on these, because everyone is going to be excited about these. Everyone knows how important lands are to Magic. Everyone knows how powerful the dual lands are. And everyone's going to think, hey, I'm going to buy 1 for myself and 1 for my investment, right? That's just going to be the reality. There's going to be a lot of these things sold. Not to mention, how long's the drop window? Is it 24 hours? That FOMO? No. Did they do a full week on these ones like they did for the Valentine's Day ones? No. There's a month. You can get these things for a month. They end May 28th. That's like 3 weeks from now. These things are going to be available for so long, and because of that, there's just going to be so many out there that even though the demand is going to be high, I think the supply is going to be much, much higher, and it's going to take years for these things to actually find themselves into collections, into cubes, into decks, to really disappear from the open market. That's going to take a long time. Final conclusions. Personally, I'm not going to buy these. I'm going to pass on these because I don't think there's much investment opportunity for the reasons I just mentioned, and I also just already have a million Shock Lands. And I'm a Rob Alexander fanboy. Again, the only prints that I have of Magic the Gathering are both original Shock Lands by Rob Alexander. So you gotta believe that that's exactly what I have in my personal collection, and I just simply don't need them. That being said, if you don't have Shock Lands at all, this is a great opportunity to buy them, and you can get them for $8 a pop. You can just buy all of them, and I think that makes sense. If you're newer to Magic and you got into it within the last year, year and a half, and you don't have any Shock Lands, trust me, you're gonna want them, you're gonna play them, and it's a great opportunity to grab them. If you are a collector and you think that these are really fun and you like the idea that one represents a different plane, that's really cool. They could look really good in the case. It can also look good if you have each time that the Shock Lands have been printed. Like, how cool would that look to have all 5 or 6 of the Shock Lands, of each printing, right, including the expeditions? That would look really cool. That's a fun collectability thing. So there's a lot of pros and a lot of positives about this particular product. Personally, for me, it doesn't quite hit the mark, but I do think this is going to be a really successful product and lots of people are going to enjoy these.